There have been many great tragedies over the course of mankind, all of which pale in comparison to what I have to talk about today. I've got to warn you, this is not a tale for those who are easily disturbed. Today I come to you with the sad tale of how I was forced to watch Aquaman twice, and how I survived. Alright, so this isn't going to be really an Aquaman review. I would love to make one, but I'd rather wait. Maybe when the movie comes out for real, I could do a review on it, because I really, just to open this with my opinion, I really despise the movie. It's very bad. But, it's not really a review, but I am going to be giving a lot of my thoughts. These are all my opinions, obviously. I watch a lot of movies, and I think, for those of you who have seen the film, I think I'm being fair with most of these things. And for those of you who haven't, bless you, first of all. I very much envy you not having to watch the movie. It was a very good call. It is awful. So, anyways, here's my story. This is how it all went down. First of all, I want to say I never wanted to watch Aquaman. I never wanted to watch it. This video also not scripted. I'm kind of just going freeform. It's probably going to be obvious. I might ramble, but I hope it's still worth watching. I put up some Aquaman Injustice gameplay. It's like the only Aquaman gameplay I could find, really, that is like, they don't have Aquaman games. And I was going to maybe put Spider-Man PS4 stuff in the background, but I thought that was insulting to Spider-Man. So you can see some Aquaman fighting some boys. But anyways, I never wanted to see the movie. I wanted to see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse because I actually gave a shit about that movie. And I watched that first. Turned out it was incredible, and I loved it so much. I was like, as far as 10 out of 10s go, I think that movie's one of the only ones I can fully say I believe is like a 10 out of 10. That movie is so great. If you haven't seen Into the Spider-Verse, highly recommend it. It's basically the pinnacle of like a superhero movie. I know it's animated, blah blah blah. It's not for kids though, really. It's just, it's anybody can watch that and love it, I think. But that's not about that. That's what I watched in theaters. And then my dad came out to visit, my girlfriend and I, and he wanted to go watch a movie. So, of course, being the gentleman I am, I let him pick the movie. I strongly inferred we should watch Spider-Man. Or even Bumblebee. All right, I'm not gonna hate on Bumblebee. I'm sure it's a decent movie. I wanted to see that more than Aquaman, but of course, luck has it he wanted to see Aquaman. My dad has a knack for loving awful movies, but he wanted to see Aquaman. I was like, all right, I'll give it a chance. I didn't want to give them money. I didn't want to pay DC for another bad movie watched in theaters. So at least this is on someone else's dime. My dad's buying. Like, all right, I'll go see Aquaman. My God, it's a snooze fest. I don't know. I don't know where to begin. It's just not good. Like, some of the underwater stuff looks nice, but that gets old really fast. Like, none of it's developed. Like, the fight scenes, I can give props to some of them. Like, there's an opening one that's pretty good in the lighthouse, for those of you that know what I mean. It's pretty good, but like sometimes the camera work is so bad. I don't know. It's like it's edited and thrown together like it's an old like YouTube video, like the first ever. Like if you were like a kid and you were trying to film what a cool fight scene would be and put it on your YouTube channel or something. Like he'll punch someone and the camera will turn 90 degrees, or he'll throw somebody, or someone will do a flip and the camera will spin. Like there's multiple times. It's not just one thing. It's like 2 or 3 times someone will do like a spin underwater or a front flip on land, and it'll flip the camera. It's like, why would I want that in like a high budget? Like, I don't understand. It's really jarring. Like the first fight scene in the movie, in the sub, with Aquaman, like the first Aquaman fight, opens with like it smash cuts to an assault rifle pointed into the camera lens, firing straight at like the viewer, and it's just blinding yellow light in your fucking eyes, and it's so bad. Like, it actually hurts my fucking eyes. I saw the movie, like I said, twice, and both times it like actually hurts my fucking eyes. It just looks bad. Like, I don't get some of the choices of like the shots and the editing and stuff. Like, it's not even just that. Like, the writing is goddamn bad. It is, honestly, I think the writing is the weakest part of the whole thing, because they do have nice sets. There are set pieces that look good. There are fight scenes that look cool. The hair underwater, blah, blah, blah. Like, the effects aren't even that bad. Compared to DC movies, a lot of the DC movies have had really bad CGI, especially when you compare it to, like, Infinity War and big budget shit like other superhero movies. I thought the CG was alright. Some of the underwater stuff looks pretty fake. and kind of over the top, but at the same time, I think the CG looks good. It's just the writing is just really, really bad. Like, especially, basically any time there's two characters interacting or talking to each other, it's so rigid and like unfunny. Like it's the same with, you remember when they did like the trailers for like even Wonder Woman, or like I liked Wonder Woman, by the way. That's basically the only DC movie since Dark Knight that was good, was Wonder Woman, but I was hoping this would be another Wonder Woman, but I was let down. But you remember they did like the Batman vs Superman trailer and stuff where they'd try and like shoehorn in comedy, like they'd try and pretend like they're in this super dark DC universe, and then they try and shove comedy in. Once that wasn't working, they tried to be like Marvel, and this is like that too. It's like you have these attempts at comedy and they're so weak and so bad. It's just like, I don't know, even like, I'm not saying Marvel, they hit the mark every time, but I think Ragnarok, as an example, is almost a comedy movie. You know, it is more, as many laughs as it does action scenes, and I really loved Ragnarok. You know, obviously not really Infinity War, but even Infinity War has at least a few zingers. Like, so there's a few laughs, you know, but this, the thing with Aquaman, people were laughing. I don't understand. Like, I'm in the theater, people were actually laughing both times. It was like actual adults in front of me. Like, people laughed. I don't know how. I really don't. I would look at my girlfriend and just be like, how the hell are people laughing at this? I know people go to the movies to have fun, alright? I went in there, the first time I went in, I was like, alright, we'll see. I kind of want to see Aquaman, you know? I just didn't want to pay them. But maybe it's good. People say that it's like, oh, it'll be just as good as Wonder Woman. I'm like, alright, I'll give them a fucking chance. I went in there too, looking to have a good time, but like, it's hard when the movie's laughably terrible the whole time, but people are laughing. I don't understand. Like, there is like an actual line in this movie. This is the comedy. This basically sums up the comedy. This is almost verbatim, if I can remember. This is like exactly the line. To set the scene, they're underwater. She's been, the one girl who's like the kind of sidekick has been hiding her ship in a sea can, and they swim up to it, and Aquaman is like, almost verbatim, I'm not getting in that ship. Your ship's been marinating in chum butter. I'm gonna come out smelling like swamp butt. To which she replies, that would be an improvement. And then underwater also, he smells his armpit, coughs audibly, goes, maybe you're right, and they get in, and I will come out smelling like swamp butt. That was the line. That was the zinger, and that was the whole joke. I was like, all right, you know, good start. Like, there's a whole desert sequence where him and the redheaded chick are talking to each other, and everything they say is so painful. Like, there's this one scene at the end of that where he smacks this tracking beacon thing out of her hand. If you've seen the movie, you know exactly the part I'm meaning. They're on the top of the dunes, and he's like, no, and he smacks it out of her hand, and it is out of like a high school production. It is so bad and such terrible acting, and just the lines between them are so rigid and so unfunny. It's like a cringe compilation every time they goddamn talk. And I know just saying cringe is kind of cringe these days, but anyways, back to the movie. Like, the there's so many just bad, it's just bad. I don't know. Like, there's these scenes that end with explosions every single fucking time. It's like they don't know how to write from one scene to the next. Whoever wrote it, they're just like, they wrote specific scenes, and then they were like, shit, we have to make this a congruent movie now. Like, this has to flow as a film. How the fuck do we do that? How does he go from being talking to the girl, but now we need to have this fight scene after? How the fuck do we do it? 4 different scenes that I counted anyways. And like, I know 4 in like a 2.5 hour movie, 4 scenes doesn't feel like a lot, but it is like noticeably a lot. You're kind of rolling your eyes by like the second or third time, and you're like, why can they not write a film? Like, 2 characters are talking, blah blah blah, they're just talking to each other, and then fucking smash cut, the wall explodes, and then the henchmen run in and they all start fighting. Him and the girl are talking in the fucking dunes. Oh, it explodes, he goes flying, and they start fighting. The mom's talking in the lighthouse, and the fucking wall explodes, and they start fighting. Every scene ends with a goddamn explosion, and it's like, you guys can't just write, oh, the villains are showing up, oh, there he is, let's fight, or whatever. It's just like, no, fucking, we're just talking, in the middle of a sentence, the wall explodes, and now we're in a fight scene. It's like, oh, alright, I guess. 4 times, really? Like, It's just awful. I don't know. Like I said, some of it looks nice, but speaking of the henchmen people, like I don't know if henchmen's the right word, but not like the villain, like the main villains, but like the villains kind of fuckers that you just punch around and toss around. You know, they just come into the scene, get hit a few times, and fuck off. They look so bad. Like it looks like the new Power Rangers if they were designed in like 2010 by a 12-year-old child, like a blind fucking child, maybe. Like they look so bad, like undeniably bad. Both times I watched the movie, every time they would come on screen, I would audibly laugh. Like I'm not even trying, but it's just laughably bad, like actually laughably bad. I would laugh out loud, like chuckle to myself. They look terrible. I'm sure there's a trailer with them that I can actually show. They look like Halo 1 motherfuckers. Like, they look so bad. That's an insult to Halo. I shouldn't even say that. Nothing against Halo, but they look so terrible. And it's like, I don't know why. Like, I get that they're supposed to be in like it's like when, you know, like when SpongeBob goes into Sandy's fucking dome, so he has to wear a fucking thing on his head. I get that it's supposed to be like that, but they're so ugly. Like, they could have made them less chunky, Power Rangery. Like, they just look so terrible. The colors, it's just all bad. Like, the white ones especially look terrible. I don't know why that's what they went with. Like, how is that supposed to be a threatening looking henchman when he busts through the fucking wall, and then that's what you see, and he's got like laser guns, and it's like the most cliche laser ass shit. It's like Star Wars fucking laser sounds constantly. It's just bad. I don't know. It's just bad. Like, the comedy's terrible. The fights are bad. With the fights too, like Aquaman, the fights are alright. It's just the scenes that set them up are bad, and he never really wins one. Like, I get the big joke is like Aquaman, he's terrible, you know, he's the worst hero, blah blah blah. But he literally never really wins one. Like, they open the movie with the sub fight, and they show him just beat the shit out of a bunch of people, and you're like, sweet, he's actually gonna fight people in this movie. But then you're like realizing that those were all just like normal people. Like, they're like mortal dudes that are just normal guys, like pirates robbing this sub or whatever, and he just beats the shit out of them. You're like, well, I mean, he's like a god of the sea or whatever. I guess it makes sense that he can just throw around a bunch of guys who are like fucking 6 feet tall, and they're all, you know, just normal dudes. He beats the shit out of them, and you're like, all right. And then as soon as he has like actual challenge of any kind, he's just the most useless bastard ever. He even says in the film himself, like, oh, all I've been doing is getting my butt kicked all movie. This whole time I've just been getting my ass kicked. It's like, yeah, that's literally the movie. He just gets tossed around the whole time. He never wins anything. Like, oh god, my cat's going crazy. Hey, stop, not right now. Like, there's this big sort of fight he does with underwater in this big coliseum. Not to spoil what it is or whatever, but there's a big kind of coliseum-y fight, which is, you know, definitely not the same thing I saw in Ragnarok. But there's a big sort of underwater coliseum fight, and you know, he's bad. He doesn't win. He's just terrible. Like, the whole build-up is like that he's gonna win this big fight. He just basically runs away, like flees the fight, and you know, it's just. He doesn't win, and then every time he fights Manta, he loses. Really, like the final sort of one, they kind of more or less tie. Like, he gets his ass kicked, Manta also gets his ass kicked, and then it ends. Like, he never really wins one. And then even they set up this underwater fight against this big monster or whatever, all this build up, and then he just fucking talks his way out of it. Like, nothing cool happens. It's like, oh, there's this huge cool monster, you know, I'm expecting this big like fucking kaiju fight between Aquaman and this big motherfucker, and instead it's just like, please don't fight me, I am Aquaman, I am a good boy, don't punch please. And then they just don't fight. It's like, alright, cool, thanks for wasting my goddamn time. It's like, scenes that are super short should be longer. Scenes that are super long, they just could have been like one-offs. They just go on and on and on. Like, scenes will just drag, and you're like, what the fuck am I don't care about these two wandering around the desert making like shitty one-liners at each other that never land. They aren't funny, and it just goes on and on and on. The movie tries to turn into this like rom-com in the middle for some reason. They're like this scene in this little village square that just goes on and fucking on, and they're like doing their little romantic talk. There's even like the girl stumbles and he catches her and they almost kiss, but then of course the fucking world explodes and the fight scene starts. Like, it's so cliche and bad. And it's just, it feels like an old movie. Like, I watch it and it's like, I have seen all of this. I've seen everything that happens, but I've seen it better and done well, and it just does nothing well. And that's, I don't know, like, it's not a terrible movie. It's just everything it does has already been done better, and it doesn't do anything very well. Like, it's just a passable movie. You're like, yeah, that was okay, but I could have spent 2.5 hours watching, you know, if I want to see a superhero movie, I can slide a fucking any Marvel movie in and it will be better. I'm not saying this as like a Marvel fanboy. Like, I just like good movies. Marvel happens to make the best superhero movies. I like Marvel, you know, like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, DC bad, Marvel good. It's like, no, it's like Marvel movies good, bad movies bad. Dark Knight trilogy, the first couple, very fucking good. I love them a lot. Like, those are when DC was good. You know, I thought Wonder Woman was good. It's an objectively good movie and it's enjoyable. I think the ending's bad, but the rest is pretty good. You know, I'll give them props when they deserve it, but holy shit, Aquaman is just not good. Like, that's the thing. I can put in any Marvel movie and have a good viewing time. I can enjoy the movie and be like, that was a good movie. It looks good. The writing's good. The story makes fucking sense. I get some good action. I get characters that are actually written well. The comedy is pretty funny most of the time. You know, like, sure, I will mention Black Panther's fucking what are those fucking shit.
The real question is, what are those?
That's not good, all right? That's terrible, obviously. That is pure pain to watch. That is, you know, Marvel gets it wrong sometimes, obviously. But for the most part, I can watch a Marvel film, have a good time. Or I can put in Aquaman and suffer for 2.5 hours. It's so long. Like, all the Marvel movies these days are over 2 hours. Infinity War is long, but it's constantly showing you things that are enjoyable, making moves, plot is moving, shit is happening. Doesn't feel that long. It feels like you're watching it, and it feels fast. Like, that was my one downside to Infinity War that I didn't like, was that so much happened. It felt so rushed. The pacing was so fast because there's so many characters and this big build going, you know. It felt very fast. Aquaman, it's like my father fell asleep. He's the one who wanted to see the damn thing. Like, it was so boring, and it's just so long. Scenes that should be short, like I said, are long, and scenes that should be long should be shorter. Like, it just goes on and on. Like, there's this whole scene where the main villain underwater is kind of overthrowing the other underwater kingdoms, and it's like a 10-second scene where he like overthrows this kingdom, kills the king, enslaves the people, whatever. They do it in like a 10-second little bit, and then smash cut back to Aquaman making shitty one-liners for so long. Like, it's rough. It's pretty rough. Back to the Marvel stuff, there's a lot in this movie that is parallels to like some of the Marvel films, like scenes that are almost verbatim, or like plot points that are almost the same exact thing but worse. Like, Aquaman is this, they took the same shit and just did it worse. The whole movie even is kind of just like an off-brand, like, garbage version of Black Panther. Not to say Black Panther is this big masterpiece that everyone seems to think that's like amazing piece of art. I thought Black Panther was good. I thought it was actually, I thought it was pretty great, but I didn't think it was, you know, this is a movement, it's incredible. I'm not on board with that, but like, Aquaman is just the worst version of Black Panther and underwater, you know. It's the story arc is more or less the same shit but worse and longer. And it's just, the whole thing is a watered down version of Black Panther. You know, watered down, see what I did there? That's pretty good. But there's the whole part with his mom and Aquaman. Not to spoil Aquaman, but I kind of do. If you've seen Ant-Man 2, me saying this kind of spoils Aquaman, but the part with his mom and Aquaman, if you've seen it, is exactly the same as Ant-Man 2. Exactly the same. Like, I will spoil it now because I guess you already know. And I don't think anyone, if you're watching this video still, you've probably seen Aquaman already, or you just don't give a shit about Aquaman and you'll watch it when it comes out and you won't care anyways. Ant-Man 2, not Ant-Man's mom, but Michael Douglas's wife, Wasp's mom, is in the fucking whatever dimension, she's dead or whatever. She's been in the dimension. She's probably dead. Everyone thinks she's dead. And then they go to the dimension and she's been surviving and she's wearing like aliens' bodies as her armor or whatever, and she's lived in there for however long. Aquaman, they go to this through a portal thing into this fucking whatever dimension-y, not really dimension, but this other world sort of place, this realm. And lo and behold, his mom, who's been dead the whole movie, she's there, and she's wearing fucking armor made out of the monsters of the deep, and she's got a lobster claw thing that she throws off, and she's, I'm alive, and they hug, and it is exactly the same as Ant-Man 2. 100% the exact same shit happens, and it is painful. And like, there's a Black Manta scene where he's making his like Manta suit, and it just looks like Iron Man but shittier. Like, it's just, he's in there fucking hammering, and there's like the little welder, and it shoots the wall behind him, like, goofy mistake. Iron Man, tries the boots and he flies and hits the wall. That kind of shit. Like, it's literally Iron Man but worse. It's Black Panther but worse. It's Ant-Man 2 but worse. And I don't get it. The plot doesn't even make a goddamn bit of sense. Like, there's sort of a congruent thing happening, but not really. It's pretty disjointed, Stuff will just happen. You're like, okay. Like, stuff that isn't really explained. There's a part where a submarine shoots at, like, the kings and shit of Atlantis and stuff. And they're in this big, like, sort of tombey, rubbly... Like, if it looks like this underwater sort of like Atlantis-y shit. Like, there's a big rubble statues and stuff that are all underwater, where in real life, if someone found that's like a scientific discovery. That's like, oh fuck, look how nice this preserved underwater temple thing is. And suddenly it's just a fucking human submarine launches a torpedo at it and blows it to shit. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. And I've seen people on Reddit, of course, that realm of all smart minds, I've seen people on there say like, the submarine was actually, the villain hired the sub to shoot the underwater fuckers to start, so he could start a war against the surface world and all this shit. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. That probably could be what they wanted us to think happened, but they don't tell you that. They don't explain that. None of that is actually in the film. That's just like, my interpretation of the film is that it was good because of this, but that's not what happened. That's not what they actually say. It's just a sub shows up, shoots a fucking missile at them, and then suddenly now they're like, the humans are fighting us. And then in the movie later, Aquaman's like, humans wouldn't attack fucking you guys. I don't understand. And it's like, yeah, it probably was set up by the king, but they don't say that. They just let you be like, that made no sense. And it's just bad. I don't know. And I guess I never really explained, but I watched it the first time, hated it, thought it was really bad. It's like I don't know. It's not terrible. It's just not good. It's like a 4 or a 5 out of 10. It's the main probably downside about it is that there's so many superhero movies now that you have a lot of better options for something to watch. You can put in any Marvel movie, or even go watch Wonder Woman or one of the better Batman films, and you'll have fun, and you'll be like, all right, I got my superhero fix, and that was a good one. Instead, you could watch Aquaman and just not have a good time. It's just not good. I don't know. A lot of people are saying that it's so great, but it's very mediocre and, in my opinion, below average. Especially in this sort of era of good superhero movies we're in, it's very disappointing. But the whole reason I saw it a second time, if you're wondering, like, why the fuck would you go back, is my girlfriend's friends were trying to kind of like branch out in our friend group, and they were like, let's go to a movie. I was like, all right, let's go to a movie. Please God, don't do me like that. I gave them all these. I'm like, we could watch Spider-Man. I'll happily watch that again because it was fucking great. I've been trying to get a chance to watch it again before it's out of theaters. Of course, no. I watched Aquaman twice, but Spider-Man once. Oh. But I'm like, I'll watch Bumblebee, I'll watch Spider-Man, I'll watch Mary fucking Poppins before I watch Aquaman, and goddamn, you just know already what they picked. They're like, I would kind of want to see Aquaman. That was pretty good. And all 4 of us came out of there. I was like, what'd you guys think? And they're like, it was okay, I guess. It's like, basically, yes, it is okay, I guess. You will not hear a higher praise than that unless you go on fucking r/DC Universe or whatever, where they all think it's a fucking masterpiece because they're all blinded by I don't know what. I don't know. It's not like there's been good movies lately. I don't know what the hell. People keep going to these DC movies and expect them to be good, and of course I can't say anything because now I went twice. But holy shit, I wish I could have just saw Spider-Man like 3 or 4 times. If you have went to the theaters or are still going to theaters like right away here, and you have the choice between Spider-Man or Aquaman or really anything else there, please, for the love of Christ, just watch Spider-Man. Do yourself a favor. It is so good. And it is, if you're going there to see something like superhero-y, that's basically your choice. Is like, do I want to see Aquaman or Spider-Man? If you choose Aquaman, you are a fool and you will regret it. And I mean that fucking wholeheartedly. Aquaman is not good. Spider-Man, on the other hand, is a goddamn masterpiece. And I've never seen anything quite like that in an animated film, especially. Visuals like I've never seen in anything. That movie is incredibly good. So, thanks for joining me for this half an hour, I guess. Holy shit, this turned into a long one, huh? Basically, this is the tale if I was forced to watch Aquaman twice and how I survived. I had to see once with my dad and once with my girlfriend's friends. And both times I wanted to die, but I made it through the whole movie both times. My dad fucking fell asleep. My girlfriend almost fell asleep too. But I suffered through, alright? I did it for you guys. I don't know. Leave a comment below if you've seen the movie, what you thought. I'd love to see some, because my real only options for seeing what people thought are going on like the DC subreddit, which is kind of everyone's just like, it's so great, and then there'll be comments like, I don't get what's going on, it's not that good, and then everyone just spam downvotes him into fucking oblivion. Someone will just come in and be like, it was okay, but it wasn't that good, the plot was bad, the writing was bad, and then everyone will be like, no, it was good. Justice League's gonna be good too because, you know, we've had such great DC films. Batman vs Superman, that didn't suck, it fucking ass. It's just, they've been bad. And so yeah, if you have an actual opinion about the movie, I'd love to see it. Like I said, it's not the worst movie ever. I know I've been just tearing it apart for half an hour somehow, but it's not the worst thing ever, but it is far from a good movie. Anyways, yeah, that's how I was forced to watch Aquaman twice and how I survived. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And don't watch Aquaman if you get the chance. Wait for it to be on Netflix. I'm sure it'll show up because holy, it is bad. I'm sure it'll be on Netflix as soon as it's out on like DVD, Blu-ray, whatever. It should show up right away because it fucking blows. I think right now the tomato is like 60-65%, which I even feel is too high. It is more like a 4. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Check out Player Select if you want to see more of my content. Tanner and I play a lot of games. We have a lot of fun. We make a few jokes. It's a good time. If you want to see some gaming shit, check that out. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I don't know if anyone enjoyed this. I know it was really long. If you would like any kind of videos like this, I'm sorry this one was so long. It was unscripted. I kind of just rambled, but I feel like the free-flowing sort of thing I did worked pretty well. I got a sore throat now, so I'm gonna bounce, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.